Okay, so here's one of President Trump's abuse, abuse of power, I should say, by using the postal service as for his campaign. I'm gonna hold this up. This is what I got in the mail today, right there. So I put it in the Adobe Acrobat Reader. It's much easier to read this way. And right there it says, slow the spread. President Trump's coronavirus guidelines for America. And right there, you see that stamp up there? Postage and fees paid. United States Postal Service permit number G-10 postal customer. Is Trump a postal customer? No. CDC. For more information, please visit coronavirus.com, dated March 16, 2020. That was around the time President Trump was going around in rallies saying that the virus was a hoax, a Democratic hoax. So this is like cheating. March 16, 2020. Come on. And here we are today. It's May the 20th. So March, April, May. So that's over 2 months ago. This is like in high school, some people they cheat and then they backdate, that kind of stuff, to make it look like they were current with what was going on when it's not true. So let's read here. Let me go to the back of it, which is on this side here. And it says here, this is the advisory. Remember, when was it? Last week or a little more than a week ago? Trump, surrounded by people from the CDC, NIH, suggested injecting oneself with Lysol or disinfectant to kill the virus. Yet we have an advisory here. So the advisory, listen and follow the directions of your state and local authorities. If you feel sick, stay home. Do not go to work. If your children are sick, keep them at home. Contact your medical provider. If you are an older person or have a serious underlying health condition, stay home and away from other people. If someone in your household has tested positive, keep the entire household at home. Even if you are young or otherwise healthy, you are at risk, and your activities can increase the risk for others. It is critical that you do your part to slow the spread. Now, if you go back to the news stories back then at the White House back in March, Trump believed that young people were not getting sick, that they couldn't get sick, that this virus was only attacking older people. Matter of fact, I think just yesterday he mentions mostly older people in nursing homes who die. So to continue, work or study from home wherever possible. Avoid social gatherings in groups of more than 10 people. Avoid eating or drinking at bars and restaurants. Use pickup or delivery options. This is coming from somebody who tweeted not that long ago to liberate Wisconsin, liberate Michigan, liberate Virginia, where people with long guns were outside the state capitals, like in Lansing, Michigan, and so forth. Uh, Richmond, Lansing, Michigan, Richmond, Virginia. I don't know the capital of Wisconsin, but they were out there with long guns protesting. Why you need a long gun to protest? But anyway, and he was tweeting that these people should be liberated. You see, so what he's saying here doesn't really apply to what he was saying before. And if you go back, like I said, this is dated March 16, 2020. And definitely, all these people with the long guns and so forth, they were doing this. This was like maybe in the last 2 weeks. You go back 2 weeks ago. So that would bring us back to like early May, late April, the protesters and so forth. So really, whatever this is that he sends out here, advices from the CDC, he really doesn't mean it. This is just a ploy to get his name out there as campaign material. Avoid discretionary travel, shopping trips, and social visit. Yeah, but he was encouraging these people to go out, go out and eat, go out and mingle. Do not visit nursing homes or retirement or long-term care facilities unless to provide critical assistance. Always practice good hygiene. Wash your hands, especially after touching any frequently used item or surface. Avoid touching your face. Sneeze or cough into a tissue or the inside of your elbow. Disinfect frequently. Use items and surfaces as much as possible. Notice in this, it doesn't say to ingest disinfectant or to inject disinfection into your body. So this is definitely from the CDC. This is like a student copying his schoolmate's work and handing it over as his and putting his name on it and taking credit. Of course, this is an agenda, of course. There's something behind that, which is to get the name out there as if he really cares. In the meantime, just yesterday, he said it was a badge of honor that they were doing all this testing, and the test shows an increase in the amount of infected people here in America. So that means that's a badge of honor. How about the 90 something plus thousand people who died because of something that probably could have been stopped? You know, if you look at let's see, if you look at Taiwan, Taiwan is about 80 miles east of mainland China. Taiwan doesn't have this problem. Taiwan didn't have to shut the economy down and do all the things we're doing. South Korea too. Yeah, they had some deaths, but not in the scale. If you look at it, if you look at per capita, the population, South Korea, what they started doing testing early. So they were smart enough to avoid that problem. So they started out testing people, and they started out prohibiting travel coming in from certain parts of the world, like mainland China. They shut that down. We didn't do that. Yeah, he shut down travel from China, but the virus ended up in Europe. In Italy, it killed so many people. Like in one day, 90 people died in the same hospital in northern Italy. 90 people, imagine that? Having 90 people who died in the same hospital in one day in northern Italy. So this was going on. And then eventually he decided, oh, I'm going to shut down travel, but I'm going to shut it down from China, but I'm going to shut it down to people who are not American citizens, not American residents. So people can still come in anywhere. So it's like too little, too late. And I think it's time to stop abusing the Postal Service, which is kind of ironic because a few days ago, Trump said that the Postal Service should increase their fees to like companies like Amazon and so forth because the Postal Service is just about nearly bankrupt out of money. So, in order to give the Postal Service more money, he's suggesting, well, you ought to increase your fees, charge more, charge more. But as a good hypocrite, here he is using free mail from the United States government, which is the United States taxpayer pays for. So if you happen to be a United States taxpayer and you pay taxes, I think you should be offended because this is the second set of mail I got from President Trump, who is abusing the privileges of his office by using this, you know, for his personal gain, for his campaign, or what have you. I used to work for the federal government years ago, and we had envelopes, those long white envelopes, so long business envelope, and outside shows the agency, the department, and so forth that I worked for. Yeah, I could have said, you know what, let me send my friend a letter and use one of those envelopes. But that's prohibited. That's illegal. There's like a fine for that. You know, I think in those days it was like $500 or something like that. If you use one of those, you couldn't do it. Now the president can write you, but he should be writing from the Oval Office, not using a federal agency like the CDC and the IRS to send mail to say he's doing you a favor or he so cares about you. That's wrong and that's really unethical. So hopefully in November, people who go out there see this and who are disgusted with this should know what they ought to do and do their civic duty, and that should be done.